Hi guys, Dom here, back with another vlog. This week I want to talk about something that isn't touched on that much in esports or gaming, but something that I think is really important. Esports is obviously all about the community. It's if you're in a team, it's important that you get along with your teammates. You work together to the best of your abilities as a unit, as a fan base. It's about being a part of it's been part with like-minded people. If you support London Spitfire, it's all about a community, and I think it's easy to get focused on that and to focus on other people, to focus on pro players, influencers, and things like that, and not so much on yourself. And I think it's so important. It ties in a little bit with mental health, but I'm not touching on that subject so much in this vlog. But it's about knowing yourself. As they say in parts of London, know yourself. It's really important. It's something that I've learned on a personal level over probably like past 5-6 years, and seen the importance of that, and looking after yourself and loving yourself as well. But that's really important. But knowing yourself and what your strengths and weaknesses are. If you're a player and you're playing in a team, you're an admin, you're going to be part of a team. You're a journalist, a writer like myself, you're going to be talking to your peers. You're going to have a team of other writers. You've got to know your readers. So I think knowing yourself is so important, because it will allow you to be more efficient in what you're doing, whether that's getting the results in a match or writing a great article, or if you're a manager, you're getting the best out of your team, and so on. And I don't think that's spoken about much in esports. It's not focused on. The reason I'm bringing this up is a couple of reasons. I think sometimes I see this in esports. You have very young players coming in with a lot of talent. Some may be pro or have the potential to go pro, but are inexperienced. It's not their fault. It's that they're young. I remember when I came out of uni, I was in sort of like the cocky phase of my life and thought I knew it all. I didn't know it all at all. I'd done a 3-year course in journalism. I've been reading games mags all my life. There was no way, and then you go into the real world. My first job was at Auto Trader, and you sort of get hit for six, because you have to learn what the real world's like, what's being part of a team is like. You might think like you have the best ideas, but you have to be open-minded, and you might naturally be open-minded. You might not realise it, or you might not be open-minded and you do realise it. I guess I'm waffling a bit, but the point of this video is that knowing what you're like can be so important, because you can prevent things from going wrong. You can get the best out of yourself. One of the reasons I bring this up is I left my World of Warcraft guild on the weekend. Did I plan it this time last week? No. Did I plan it this time a month ago? No. Was it an impulsive, rash, stupid decision? Yes. Am I impulsive and rash at times? Yeah. And I know that I am, but still I still made a mistake. And if I'd have just taken a breather, and I maybe wouldn't have fallen out with people, and the crisis could have been averted. And I know a lot of that is on my shoulders. I think the same. I've seen things like that happen in esports teams. People fall out, have an argument, delete them off their friends list, and don't talk to each other again, and maybe later make up, and maybe not. And I think if you know what you're like, that can go to a huge way to addressing that and preventing it. And so I know this sounds a bit silly, but if you don't know what you're like as a person to work with, I'm not talking so much like what you're like with your friends and things like that, but what you're like to work with. When you join an esports team or an esports company or any company, you will be working with different people that you might not be friends with, people that you might grow to become friends with. You are going to clash with people. or if you don't, you might not get along with certain people, and you will get along with others. But doing a personality test, I know it might sound a bit silly to some of you, but I think that is a great idea. I remember I had to do a personality test on my team at Auto Trader years ago in the editorial team. This was like 12 years ago now, my first job out of uni. And at the time I thought, what's all this like nonsense? But as soon as I did it, I realised actually, we spoke about it as a team afterwards, and we looked at all the strengths of each individual, and that helped, and it was good. What came back on my first personality test? It said I was the boss. Now, it probably came back as that because I was a bit cocky, thought I knew it all, and I was very assertive with my answers and quite managerial with my responses. The only other person that got the boss, I think, on the team was the actual boss, which made me feel a little bit awkward because I was a junior writer. But that was apparently my personality. It came back with a few others. I think we had 2 on the team that were loose cannons, who are, as a term to describe someone who can be very good, like, when they're firing and all guns blazing, or as in doing good work, they're great. But they're loose cannons. They can sometimes be a bit fiery or be a bit sporadic with their results and things like that. Go and do one of these tests. I did one earlier, and I got what did I get? I got I can't read what console. I got console, which it was quite detailed, the response I got, and I need to read through it properly. But it was sort of like strategic thinking or something like that. I'll tell you what, I'm going to bring that up actually. I'm going to bring that up on my emails now and talk through some of my results. Bear with me a sec. But on me, while I'm doing this, I'm just going to put my glasses on because I haven't got my contacts in today. See what the hell I'm doing. I would also describe myself as a bit of a lone wolf as well. And if I'm being really honest, I mean, even the stuff I do with Esports News UK, I have a great team. I am someone that keeps myself to myself, and I've found, looking at people who I'm close friends with now, I tend to get along with other lone wolves, if that is, if that's, and it sounds a bit weird, but that's one thing I've found. And everyone's different, so I think it's really important to know yourself, know the different kinds of people that you can get along with and so on. Bear with me 1 second. I may clip this video just while I try and find this. I know I did it today. At some point. I'm just trying to find it. Oh, here we go. Your test results. Right. I'm just going to bring these up now. So it said, I'm the console. It wasn't very helpful because it said individual traits: extroverted 51%, observant 51%, feeling 51%, judging 64%, turbulent 63%. So I'm kind of like my political ideals and my focuses. I'm kind of down the middle. I can see when people get into arguments about Brexit, I can see the left's argument, I can see the right's argument. I'm very much centre, and you might think I'm boring because of that, but that's me genuinely. And I don't know if it's the journalist in me, but I like to see both sides of an argument. So it wasn't really that helpful. I did have loads of other results come up. I'm just trying to bring them up. Here we go. Right. Hang on. I'm just going to see if I can try and show you this now. There we go. So I've got personality traits. The console, role, sentinel. What does that mean? Let's have a look. Observant and judging. Yep, I'd probably say that. Cooperative and practical. I'm not that cooperative. It says these types embrace teamwork, but expect the same performance and respectability from others that they strive for themselves. Yeah, that's exactly it. Like I'm not the best team player. I thought I was years ago when I left uni, but I've realised now I'm not. But if someone's pulling their weight and are doing good work, I'll respect them, and I will naturally want to get along with them really well as well. Sentinels are not unimaginative. They favour practice methodology over abstract theory. Yeah, that's right. Effective in leadership roles, these types motivate others by energetic example and feel satisfaction from a guiding and well-functioning group. Yeah, I guess so. I don't personally see myself as a great leader. I think I can do a hell of a lot better. I think I like being... I'd say my favourite position in work was when I was deputy editor of Toy News years ago, because the dep ed role is great because you don't have the full responsibility that an editor has. If something goes wrong with an article, you can kind of dodge that, but you have more responsibility and like sway than a junior writer or a senior writer. You have you can come up with interesting ideas and go for it, whereas an editor might get stuck in meetings or like the responsibilities, the day-to-day stuff that involves overseeing a website or a publication. So I love being a dep ed. I love it when I have a good boss. I'm lucky I've got a great boss at the British Esports Association in Chester King, and great team there. And with esports, what I'm saying is, if I have a good boss that I'm comfortable with and I get along with, I'm happy. So, but anyway, enough waffling about me. It says here, let's bring this up. These personality types are happiest without drama, although their admirably stubborn loyalty can certainly attract it if they feel they need to stand by a friend regardless of whether they're in the right or wrong. Yeah, inconsistent people can test Sentinel's tolerance and provoke harsh judgment. Blah blah blah, can be mentors. Yeah, that is me to a T. But my point is, like, the whole thing of knowing yourself, knowing your weaknesses. Go and do one of these personality tests. You might, and don't just read it for 5 minutes and then forget about it. Like, have a read of it and then let it sink in over the next few days and see what it's saying. See if that actually does relate to you, and you think, actually, I do a lot of those things. And then you can maybe reach out to other people that had similar results in their personality tests and see how they deal with problems. Because no one's perfect, and I certainly could deal with problems a lot better than I have done. I put out a silly tweet the other day. Let's bring this up. Which was kind of... where did I put it here? Here we go. Bad habit of mine, number 83, what I sometimes unintentionally do to some of the bridges built between myself and those I admire. Burn it, the meme from World of Warcraft. Yeah, I do. I will say, if I get into I try and avoid like confrontations and things on Twitter a little bit, because it does stress me out. And I know, like, when you're a journalist, or especially if you're in esports, you're going to get people disagreeing with you, and it's good to have healthy debates and things like that. I'm not saying that. It's just if someone disagrees with me or is like abusive, that stresses me out. If it gets too heated, and I feel like, because I'm stubborn, I can't back down, and it keeps going. So I try and just avoid it to begin with these days. I've been developed from the UK League of Legends scene in that regard, and I've burnt bridges in the past. It's not. Am I proud of it? Hell no. I don't want to be like that. But if someone gets my back up over something, I find it very difficult to just say, yeah, okay, like, you win, and just back down. And it's not so much about who wins or not. It's like not being able to find common ground as well, But anyway, enough about me. The other things I wanted to talk about this as well is, like, not only will it doing a personality test or getting to know yourself and what you're like in a team. And I say, if you haven't been in a team and you're interested in working in esports, go and do some volunteering if you can. Game Insomnia, they're always looking for volunteers. There's always the British Esports Association. There's countless tournament organisers and things like that will always look for new volunteers. Go and do something like that, because A, it's great for your CV, and B, it's great for you. It opens doors, but for me, most importantly, you find out about yourself. Why do people go on gap years? Why do they go travelling abroad and things like that? To find themselves, right? That's a phrase. That's a thing that people say. You can do that working in a team as well, because if you want to work in esports, you're going to be talking to people a hell of a lot every day or whenever. So that's my recommendations to people. And the other thing I wanted to say is as well, doing this stuff has made me think my life has changed a hell of a lot over the past decade. When I was at uni, although I was still playing a lot of games and things like that, I was a lot more sociable than I am now. And I think I get into my habits, old habits die hard. Doing my website, doing my main job. I've got my little one, putting him to bed and things like that. And you get stuck in this routine. Weirdly, I wrote a song about that when I was like 16, 17 in my old punk band, Boring Routine. God dear. It's not a boring routine I'm in, but I am stuck in a routine. And because of that, I don't go out as much. As you grow older, it can naturally happen. Friendship groups fragment, people move away, you don't live near each other anymore. Life happens, you get married, you have children. You suddenly live in 30 miles away from a friend that you used to really get along with, and that's hard to, my closest uni mates, we see each other a few times a year now, whereas at uni it was like almost every day or every other day. So, but you don't realise that overnight. It happens sort of slowly, and so I've seen things on YouTube come up a lot that loneliness is a big deal now, with especially with young people. We've got this social media boom and everyone's really connected online, but the irony is we have all this technology to allow us to communicate, and yet a lot of us are lonely. Why is that? It's like, I remember I'm an old guy, an old gamer. I remember when Xbox Live came out. I remember when the internet came out on the Sega Dreamcast. I believe that was the first time online gaming was available in the UK. It's a little puzzle game called Choo Choo Rocket. I was playing with people online on dial-up, and it was amazing. And then Xbox Live came out, and Halo 2, I think it was, I was playing online, and then other games on Xbox were playing online. And I thought, this is fantastic. I'm getting to know all these different people around the world and like-minded gamers, and I can play with my friends from school and things like this, and sixth form. And then over the years it's got so sophisticated now. World of Warcraft Classic's coming out in a few weeks, and a lot of people have compared Classic feeling like it's more of a social experience than the current version of World of Warcraft. Why is that? Could it be because of the game? Maybe partly, but also we had like fewer ways of communicating with each other online back then. So when you did meet someone who was questing in a zone near you, and maybe you'd be more likely to talk to them. Whereas today, everything is a rush. They've put all tools in the game to make you do quests super quick. You just find a group, do the quest, and leave. I always try and do things like wave or greets everyone warmly, the little emotes and things. Rarely get a response. Very, very rarely. That's not to, disrespect any of the players or anything like that. It's just the nature of how things are now. But I think, it all ties into knowing yourself as well. You could be outwardly extroverted, but be a bit lonely inside, Where am I going with this? It's just at the end of the day, you want to be happy, don't you? So if you can recognise that and then take steps to address it, or whatever, do whatever is best for you. These days I have a small handful of very close friends, as opposed to knowing loads and loads of people, and that's fine. I'm happy with that. And the other thing I wanted to touch on as well was, and that is homesickness as well. Like, I know sounds a bit random, but I remember there was an incident of this in the UK scene a few years back. I think there's been a few incidents of it. Players are young. If you're still a teenager and you're going to a tournament of finals for the first time, and you've never done that before or been away from home, and you're away from your routines and things like that, that can be a huge like change or upheaval for some people. And those people that went through that homesickness had to learn the hard way that, oh, damn it, I'm homesick, like, and I haven't felt like this before. Or maybe they had and they already knew. But the point is, you know, you don't learn about yourself unless you try new things, unless you work in a team and so on. And I think it's so easy to get caught up these days on a YouTube video that says top 5 ways to improve your play in League of Legends, or, you know, top 10 ways to go pro as a pro gamer. You can follow all those tips, but at the end of the day, like, the best advice, I know it's a cliche, is, you know, when someone goes into an interview or they go on a date or something like that, what do people say? Be yourself. And that's because no one knows you like you. Like, you know, you've got to know yourself, and if you don't try and, like, I guess I'm not trying to preach, but what I've found is don't try and take on too many tips and get caught up on the ways you should do things, and instead learn about yourself more and your personality and your traits and your strengths and weaknesses, because then you know the best way to get to the destination you want to get to, or the job or the career you want, just by like trial and error and doing it your way and knowing the best way to do it. If you're good with spreadsheets, do spreadsheets. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's probably not a very good example, but you're a very social person, you've got a great voice, you like talking about games, go and be a caster. You know, you like writing articles, doing research, talking to people, and you don't like the sound of your own voice, be a written journalist. You know, this is outside my comfort zone. Anyway, I'm not going to waffle much more. I just hope you take something from this, something a bit different about esports, about gaming. Know yourself, go and do a personality test, and let me know what you got. I'd be really interested to see what you got. Leave some comments, you know, Twitter or YouTube. Did it help you? Because I know a few of you have been commenting on this, and I get more comments on these videos than I do articles. Our articles are a little bit more throwaway, aren't they? They're news, they're interviews, someone reads it, they go on to the next thing. They don't think so much about the writer and what that writer's put into writing the article, unless it really annoys them, I find, or it's an incredible article. But you know what I mean. Videos are a bit more personal because it's like you're there talking to them and things like that. Anyway, I'm waffling. Leave your comments, guys, and I'll see you next week. And cheers for watching.